Well, the Oilers get swept by the Vancouver Canucks in 4 games in this Pacific Division rivalry in 2023-2024. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Oil Stream Postgame Show presented by GCL Diesel. Tom Gazzola with you. Matthew Owanek back at our EST Global HQ, and Matt Kassian, our game analyst, will be joining us in a little bit. You can text us 780-218-9999 or get in the nasty chat if you're watching on our EST YouTube channel. Of course, the Oil Stream Postgame Show brought to you by GCL Diesel, Edmonton's diesel fuel system specialists and providers of critical engine components for over 50 years. Great to have GCL Diesel on board as title sponsor of the Oil Stream pre- and post-game show. All right, the Oilers can't get much going offensively against the Vancouver Canucks. Obviously, the Canucks gave them fits early in the season. Edmonton had not played Vancouver since November 6th. The Canucks mopping the floor with the Oil in game 1 of the season, an absolute drubbing to open things up at Rogers Arena, and then they followed it up with another if you're a Canucks fan, it was a good win the Saturday of the first week of the season here in Edmonton. And then Edmonton goes into Vancouver a few weeks later on November 6th. It's 6-2 the Canucks in that one. And then Edmonton goes through a coaching change and has a really, really solid season the rest of the way. But tonight, Vancouver maintained a really solid season too, obviously. But tonight, the Oilers just couldn't seem to muster a ton. They did have a really strong opening 10 minutes to this game. But Vancouver started to push back. They waited, and they took advantage of some miscues by the Oilers. I think of that first goal, Darnell Nurse backing into Stu Skinner and letting Sam Lafferty rip one, and then a nice redirection on the second goal, and the bad decision or ill-timed goalie pull in the third for the empty netter when the Oilers were trying to get the equalizer. So Edmonton gets swept by the Canucks if they meet in the postseason. I know the Latino Heat, Hernan Salas, texted me directly. He was at the game. He said, I don't like it if they play them in the postseason, but we'll see what happens. Edmonton basically locked into second now in the Pacific. Quite likely we see them take on the Los Angeles Kings, but a couple games to go in the Pacific Division for pretty much every team. Edmonton now down to its final 3 games. The Golden Knights also have 3 remaining, as do the LA Kings. So let's get into the scoring summary and game stats from Edmonton's 3-1 loss to the Vancouver Canucks. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. And then hit us up in the nasty chat if you're watching on our YouTube channel. In the first period, like I mentioned, Sam Lafferty, he rips home his 13th. Nikita Zadorov and JT Miller picking up the assist at 19:44. So those damn goals in the last minute of periods or the first minute of periods, those are something that coaches absolutely despise, and the Oilers allow one there. 1-0 Canucks after 1 in the second. Nice redirection by Pius Suter, his 14th goal of the season on the feed from Tyler Myers, slipping it past a Stuart Skinner who couldn't track it down at 11 minutes. That goal coming in 2-0 Canucks. But Evander Kane would pull the Oilers back to within 1 at 17:48. Nice redirection by Kane. Connor Brown picking up an assist, and Darnell Nurse another one. So it was like a double redirect. Good play by Sam Carrick with the puck battle on the wall. He gets it back to Nurse. He fires the puck. Brown coming across, gets a piece of it. Kane in front of the net gets a piece of it, and it gets past Casey DeSmith to make it 2-1. The Oilers, I didn't feel like they pressed that well in the third. I didn't like their chances. I think a lot of stuff was to the outside. I felt like they were slightly off at times in this game as well. They couldn't muster up the equalizer. And like I said, ill-timed goalie pull. Dakota Joshua deposits the puck into the empty net for his 17th goal of the season from Elias Lindholm and Connor Garland at 18-13. So 2-1 becomes a 3-1 final. Shots on goal, 33-27 in favor of the Oilers. Face-offs, 53.6% for Vancouver to Edmonton's 46.4%. The power play, 0 for 2. PK goes 2 for 2 for Edmonton tonight. Hits, 48-39. Not too much chippiness. A few moments where things got a little bit feisty. Vander Kane mixing it up a bit. I think I saw Sam Carrick try to mix it up with Zadorov. And outside of that, not a lot of extracurricular stuff. Block shots, 20-8 in favor of the Canucks. Giveaway 6 for Vancouver, 5 for Edmonton. Takeaway 6 for Edmonton, 4 for Vancouver. Your final 3-1. And let's bring them in. Matt Kassian, our game analyst, as the Oilers lose 3-1 to the Vancouver Canucks. Cass, just let's start with overall impressions from this one. I don't know how much disappointment there is in the fan base tonight. Maybe some, but I saw one text that came in just said "stupid Oilers." I thought that was funny. I don't know. What did you think tonight?
That is funny.
Yeah,
I mean, tonight, Tommy, was a pretty good vision of what it's like to play a good NHL team without Connor McDavid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that kind of is it, isn't it? Where there was some good things. They had a lot of momentum, came out of the gate really strongly.
Yep.
The first 15 minutes or so of the game was they pressed and they played well, had the better share of opportunity, and then Vancouver started to push back a little bit, and then the Oilers started throwing a few pucks away. There was a few turnovers. They got a little bit scrambly in their defensive zone, and then all of a sudden the tide shifted. And I don't want to say Vancouver never looked back, because I don't think it was absolutely dominant from that point on from the Vancouver Canucks, but they played Vancouver Canuck hockey. Like we talked about, very straight lines, very aggressive, high pressure. And Edmonton wasn't. They weren't able to seize the game again after that moment. And as I sat there and as time started to dwindle in the third period, that really was the thought that crossed my mind. I was just like, I think this game probably looks a little bit different with Connor McDavid in it. Even that push to try to get back in it, maybe just a little bit different with him. I think someone had thrown out the stat too that they haven't scored very many goals when Connor McDavid isn't in the lineup.
Fair,
which is fair.
Yeah. It's Connor McDavid, for crying out loud.
So understandable, but yeah, I mean it was an okay game, Tom. Like, it's not like they played horrible. Vancouver's just a good team, and if you want to beat good teams, you have to play well for an entirety of 60 minutes, and maybe just a few too many lapses.
Edmonton was up 7-0 in shots early in that game. Good jump out of the gate, like you said, Cass. And then it took Vancouver, it was till the 6-minute mark for them to get their first shot. It wasn't even a really threatening one either. But I thought that's when they started to turn the tide, took some momentum late in the first period, and managed to get through. The goal Lafferty scored, I mentioned, off the hop, coaches hate goals in the last minute of periods. They dislike goals in the first minute of periods. Those are coach killers, and it pisses them off, understandably so. There was a text, I think it was Bad Andy. I'm going to read it first to tee this up. Bad Andy says, Nurse up to his old tricks again, backing in, misreading plays, trying to do too much. I wanted to highlight him backing in on top of
way
Stu
too
Skinner.
Far.
Yeah, that
way too far. It's if it's a 2-on-1 and you back in that far, okay, maybe. But yeah, no, he backed way too far, and he had help and support off the rush, so he could have challenged it and had his stick on puck. And I think he took away Stuart Skinner's eyes a little bit on that, like where I don't think he could see it cleanly because Nurse was right in the way, and he's so far back. A low shot and a good shot, I thought, by Lafferty Daniel. But a good low shot, and he just probably couldn't see it until it was too late. So, and you see him, I think, kind of give Nurse the side eye a little bit there too.
Yeah.
And that's a tough one to swallow, especially in a period where, if you get out of that period 0-0 and you're sitting in the dressing room, you're looking at that thing going, that's a really good period. Yeah, we didn't score, but we controlled the play. Yeah, they made a little bit of a push, but we controlled the play. We had the better chances. They didn't get a shot for how long? And Skinner made a couple good saves and that. But you give up a goal, and now all of a sudden, just from a momentum standpoint, it's just like you're sitting in this. I don't want to say you're sitting in sludge, but it like you feel that heading into the room and trying to be like, okay, well, now we got to go overcome this, versus being like, whoever wins the next period might win this, or there's, win 2 periods, win a game.
Mm-hmm.
So that those ones absolutely kill you. They're tough with just a couple seconds left. And again, Darnell Nurse just can't back in that much on that.
No. Excellent Happy Gilmore reference. Very well played. You slid that in there beautifully. Lafferty, Daniel, and during the Masters of all times. Impeccable
Also,
cast. Yes.
I don't know if you heard this. We haven't talked about it on Two Guys. But it has now been confirmed that there is a Happy Gilmore 2 script in the works.
Yes.
I don't know if
I heard.
Just saying.
Bravo, Cass. Gold jacket, green jacket. Who gives a shit? As Happy Gilmore would say. 780-218-9999. Tom Gazzola, Matt Kassian, Matthew Iwanek with you on the Oil Stream post-game show presented by GCL. Diesel, get those texts in as Edmonton falls 3-1 to the Vancouver Canucks. Do you want to dip into that second goal, the Puce Suter redirection? I thought it was a nice one, but could his stick have been tied up, or was that just a nifty play by Suter?
That was that high tip is a pretty good play. Maybe Bouchard can get a stick on that. Maybe
that's what I thought watching it.
Yeah, maybe he can get a stick on it. If anything, so from Evan Bouchard's standpoint, he kind of goes into box out mode. Like he thinks that's not going to be a pass. He's anticipating that to be a shot. Right? He's not thinking shot pass, which was a shot pass. He's thinking shot. So he kind of goes up, gets his stick up into cross-check mode, like I'm going to box this out, make sure that he's pushed to the outside, which he kind of, from a momentum standpoint, like if you look at the play, he successfully does. Like if that's a shot on net, Sutter isn't getting anywhere close to the net. Like he's been pushed outside, he's boxed out. Yeah. So in a perfect world, Bouchard recognizes that it's a pass to him for a deflection, and he's able to go stick on puck, and then it's a nothing play at that. But I mean, do have to credit both Tyler Myers and Sutter on the play. I mean, it's a good play. High tip like that, tough for a goalie to adjust. And it's a good goal, and sometimes good teams are going to get those. So really, it's like the mistakes in hockey games against good teams can be that small, where it's like you read shot instead of shot pass, and you go to box a guy out, which typically, if it was a shot, you're doing the right thing. Yep. But the play's just 3 or 4 inches over from where you think the puck is going to go, and now it's in the back of your net. So it's a tough one.
3-1, the Oilers fall to the Vancouver Canucks. Text us 780-218-9999. Tube Sock says, looks to me like the Oilers could use one more finisher added to the top 6. Ha, Tube Socks. Yes, missing Connor McDavid for a third consecutive game. Conroe, Texas says, I'm not blaming Stewie, but you can't get beat on wrist shots if you want to win the Stanley Cup. Cass, do you want to address that one? Because I'm not putting it on Stu completely.
No, both of those. I mean, like, I don't think
nice shot.
See the Darnell Nurse one.
He walked right in.
I like with Lafferty, who walked right in and goes, far side, and I don't think he could see it. Like it was a low shot. I think Darnell Nurse was right in the lane, and I don't think he could really see it. And on the other one, it's a tip right in front of you. So, you're probably thinking shot too. And that's where it was a good play, but let's not blame Stuart Skinner. And at the end of the day, the Edmonton Oilers only scored 1 goal.
Yeah.
And, to have Stuart Skinner give up 2, I mean, are we going to jump on Stuart Skinner and trade him now? He gave up 2 goals, both of which he didn't have too much of a chance on. Like I don't know. That game did not diminish my confidence in Stuart Skinner in any way. In fact, it actually raised it. He made a couple really nice saves over the course of the game. So if anything, I'm less concerned. Not that I was concerned before, but if there was any concern, I feel even less of it now. Let's not pin this on Stuart Skinner. Not one bit.
Chemo Man via the nasty chat says Nurse way too passive, not Skinner's fault.
Yep.
What else do we have? Free gifts from NHL for more number 1. Oh, there's someone's getting into it about the draft lottery. Maybe a Canucks fan or two has slipped into the nasty chat. Well played, Canucks fans. A lot of them in the house tonight. Some loud cheers when Vancouver scored its goals. In this one, Barry Barry's going off, not the deep end, but Barry says this feels like a Kings in 6 type of season. Barry, come on, take a deep breath. SJ in the Kootenays texting it says, Hardy, congratulations to Ryan's second assist. Hopkins for another stellar display of toughness, leadership, determination. He really came through when really needed. Nugent Hopkins has taken a little bit. There's been a few people that have been all over him. I know he's not having a 100-point season, but Cass, like, I didn't think he was great tonight by any means. I think actually there's been a few times in the last couple games where he just wasn't assertive with his stick and getting it on pucks. And I think there was a play that Draisaitl made to him where it could have been like a backdoor Tampa and he just didn't have a stick down. A few times in the last couple games, I didn't think he was particularly great, but I mean, I'm not blaming Ryan Nugent Hopkins.
No, but he's one of the ones that typically gets blamed. He's one of the ones that typically gets blamed too.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Let's go to this one. I've got a whole bunch of texts coming in, so let's rattle off a bunch. Dirty Curdy says, good effort, but the lack of any breakout in the first 2 periods. See alley-oops and Cowboy Russell, not a formula for success. Boosh, Leon, and Nurse with some costly turnovers. Knicks will be a chore to Nux. That's supposed to be Nux, not Knicks. Will be a chore to beat in the playoffs. They played an ideal road game, and DeSmith out-battled Skinner. That's Dirty Curdy's breakdown. KL says, hey, Tommy and Cass, honestly didn't look as bad as I thought they were going to on a back-to-back. Do you notice some of the Oilers' skilled players hold on to the puck too long, give it away rather than making the simple pass? Why is that? Probably locked it to second. Would you sit McDavid for the rest of the season and also see what you have with Holloway and Broberg? Cass, I'll pass that one off to you from KL.
Yeah, well, a few things. I don't think they want to sit McDavid for the rest of the season. I think they're going to want to get him in before the playoffs start. Now, if it continues to linger where there still is something bugging them, then yeah, they're going to sit him. Mm-hmm. They're not going to give that injury a chance to get any kind of worse that it would hinder him in any way. But they do want him to get to 100 assists. Team does. He's going to want to do it, and he's going to want to skate again and play in a game again before the playoffs. So he most likely will be back. I'm trying to remember what else was in that text. That was the biggest thing that jumped out at me.
Yeah, I'll read it. This part that KL brought up, I kind of agree with. Do you notice some of the skilled Oilers players hold on to the puck too long and then give it away? Yeah,
well, when they're not playing at their best, yes. When Leon Draisaitl in particular, when he's trying to do too much and when he's not at the top of his game, he holds onto the puck too long and then tries to thread the perfect play versus just making the simple play. Mm-hmm. Some of their skill guys do run into that. And that's typically a skill guy problem. That's not just the Oilers. That's kind of everywhere. Most high-end skill guys, they at times, not all the time, but at times they hang on to it too long, looking for the perfect play rather than just making the simple, quick play. Yes, is that an issue when they're not playing at their best? Yeah, KL, it is an issue.
Yeah, KL makes some good points. Cass, if I told you that the Oilers were slightly off at times in this game, would that be something you agree with?
Yeah. I think they felt the pressure a little bit. Like when they felt off, it was when Vancouver, because they're a good team and they play a high pressure game. They threw pucks away a little bit, trying to do something, where it was, I'm just going to try to, there was the one reverse early on behind the net that was, I think, Cody Ceci on the reverse that didn't work. There was a couple where they just were throwing up the wall, hoping that a winger was going to be there, passing off the problem. That didn't work. It was a little bit of caving at times to the Vancouver pressure. And for Edmonton, usually they're the team that's hemming teams in. They're the team that's applying the pressure. They're the team with the momentum. And I think it was a little bit of them being uncomfortable in moments. And, you're going to have to be comfortable having some of those moments where there is a lot of pressure and another team's really pressing and they have some momentum and they're not giving you any space because you're going to see that in the playoffs. So I think it was, not a wake-up call. Wake-up call isn't the right word, but a good reminder. It was a good reminder that there are teams that play fast and that, you can't have multiple shifts and multiple moments where you're off and where you're not executing and where you're not calming things down. And I don't want to say it was, fire sale panicking, but there was a little bit of panic in the game at times tonight, I thought, Tommy. And that's, I think, where it felt at, where it was like, okay, they don't feel like they're at their best right now. And you have to give credit to Vancouver in that they're a good team that plays fast, that plays disciplined, that plays aggressive, and it gave the Oilers some problems.
The playing Holloway, sitting McDavid, we talked about they don't want to sit McDavid. Holloway, there are a couple times today where I think he fell into that as well, Cass, where he didn't make the right choice with the puck. But overall, I like his jump, and I kind of like what he's done overall in these games that he's played since he's been called up. And then Broberg, I was told earlier this week that to be determined. I'm sure they would like to get him into a game, but whether or not they can, yet to be determined. Maybe the one that makes sense to me, if anything, is the one against Arizona on Wednesday when they're down there. So we'll see. But the intention is to maybe get him in. They only have 3 remaining. So yes, we'll keep an eye on that, obviously. And then good to see Cody Ceci and Sam Carrick back in the lineup as well. Let's go to Shaggy and St. Albert. This is a longer one. Let's go. Shaggy says a continuation of sloppy and uninspired play from the Coyote game. Again, Draisaitl had nothing except for his usual turnovers. Oilers decided after beating Vegas they have second place in the bag. No need to work hard anymore. Decision to keep McDavid out of this game shows the complacency of the players and the team. First place is not important, but could have at least tried for it. And beating Canucks at least once at the end of the season would have been a strong statement for after the way the Canucks owned the Oilers at the beginning of the season, and they own them again tonight. At no time did I think the Oilers would tie it. In the end, this team will be judged on what they do in the playoffs. They need to put up or shut up. That one from Shaggy in St. Albert. What did I want to get to in that one? There was a lot there. Complacency. First place not important. Cass, I don't know. I don't really disagree with Shaggy and St. Albert, but do you have anything for that one?
Yeah, I don't think it was complacency. At the end of the day, the one thing I will really agree with is this team will be and should be judged by what they do in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Not concerned about them not winning first place in the division. Winning first place in the division, winning first place in the conference, winning first place in the league doesn't mean that you're going to win in the playoffs. And you could have the Boston Bruins best run ever and still lose.
First round.
And lose in the first round. And that is what you're going to be judged on. And for the Edmonton Oilers, that's fair. It's fair to judge them on that. I think it's completely reasonable to judge them on that. We should judge them on that. And we're going to judge them on that. Like when we talk about was the season a success or not, we're going to talk about what they did in the playoffs.
Yep.
That's what we're going to talk about. So yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that part of it.
As Matthew Wannick said in October, the regular season doesn't matter. And now put up or shut up, like Shaggy and St. Albert said. All right, Cass, what do you want to do? Do you want to stick around for a couple of interviews, or do you want to?
I'll stick around for one or two.
Yeah, okay.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we're gonna go inside the Oilers locker room, and then we're gonna get to some texts, and then Cass will give his take going into the game against San Jose on Monday as we roll along here on the Oil Stream postgame show presented by GCL Diesel. All right, Awanik, let's go to Hyman to start things off in the Oilers' 3-1 loss to the Vancouver Canucks.
The way the game went and what the difference was for you guys today.
Tight game, obviously. I thought we played well. The stretches where they played well, just a tight playoff-like game.
So you're 0-4 against Vancouver this year, but 3 games were earlier in the season when you guys weren't at your best. Tonight there's no Connor. How much do you read into being winless against this team?
Not at all. Yeah. Different game in the playoffs.
Look, you have 3 games left. There's a super small chance you can finish first. What's your approach in the final 3 games? What do you look to focus on?
Just getting ready for the playoffs. I think that's the goal. Doesn't really matter. Like, you want to have home ice. We've secured home ice for the first round. At some point, you're going to have to win games on the road. So we'll see.
So that would be the question. Does it change the tenor of the last 3 games of the season? You're locked into second now. First place appears to be done. Does it kind of just change how you approach the last few games?
Not as a player. I mean, I don't know if it changes how the coaching staff sees it, but as a player, whenever you're out there, you want to play your best because you can't just, lollygag your way into the playoffs. You have to be on your game, and, there are times in my career where I was locked into a position for 20 games, and that's a lot harder than 3 games. So, yeah, we'll be good.
Zach, you're going through a lot of games in a very few nights here. What's the stretch how would you define the stretch for this team and just how taxing it's been for the club?
I mean, everybody plays 82, but obviously schedule maker made it a little harder on us towards the end of the year. Having said that, considering where we are at the start of the year to be locked into a playoff spot and have home ice secured, I think we would have taken that considering where we were. So, still time left. We'll see what happens. But I think we're in a great spot.
What do you think of the offense overall tonight for your group? Did you like how much you created?
I thought we created just as much as them, maybe more. I mean, I don't think there were that many grade A chances both ways. I think it was a pretty tight checking game, similar to the playoffs. So margins are thin. They got, it was a nice tip goal. But, yeah, I mean, I thought Sioux played great. I thought their goalie played great. So just a low-event game.
All right, there's Zach Hyman as the Oilers fall 3-1. If you're wondering what Hyman did tonight, numbers-wise, let's have a look at that right now. Hyman playing 20-11, no points, 3 shots, 4 hits. And Cass, he sounded like you not annoyed, but obviously not happy, and rightly so. But the thing that stood up to me from what he said was playoffs are a different game, and he's not reading, and we shouldn't read too much into this 0-4 run against Vancouver this season. Others have pointed out, I understand, and I'm like, oh boy, the Oilers really didn't handle the Canucks well at all. I know how bad they were at the start of the year, but him saying it's a different game in the postseason, that resonated with me listening to him.
Yeah, well, it is a different game in the postseason, and Connor McDavid's back, and he was also correct in that it was still a fairly tight game. I mean, they were down 2-1, and they get an empty netter, Vancouver Canucks. So it wasn't like they got blown out, ran out of the rink again here. So, listen, I would anticipate a series between the Vancouver Canucks and the Edmonton Oilers to not be a 4-game series either way. It's going to be a battle. They're a good team. Edmonton's a good team, and as we go back to the prior text, we're going to judge the Oilers based on what they do, whether it's against the Canucks or whoever else, if both teams make it through the first round.
Chachi on the coast texting in says, boys got all cocky because they beat Big Bad Vegas the other night without Connor, then drop one to the worst team in the league and then the main divisional rival. Great. Now bag skate. Expletive ers. Pretty harsh. Chachi on the coast.
Yeah, bag. Let's bag skate them. Bag skate them.
And Arizona, I'm not going to needle too much, but the Coyotes are nowhere near the bottom of the NHL standings. That would be San Jose with 47 points. The Coyotes have 75. Anaheim, Chicago, and San Jose behind them just in the West, and then in the East, Montreal and Columbus. So one of the worst teams, absolutely, but not the worst team. And then Pacific Division rivals. Who are the biggest rivals for the Oilers right now? Obviously, the Flames usually. The Golden Knights are a thorn in their side. But Chachi, I hear ya. I'm laughing at that last line. Let's go to Jeff. Says, well played game by both teams. Oilers played particularly well early on, but difference of the game was dismissed goaltending in the first period, along with the Canucks goal with 15 seconds left. Yeah, that late goal, it's always a killer. And then Mike in Thunder Bay says, Oilers had a very strong start to the game. They faded a bit when they got scored on. Disappointing result. But who are you hoping the Oilers play in the first round, Kings or Knights? Mike in Thunder Bay. Cass, what do you say?
I mean, I don't think I want to pick either. I think matchup wise, I think they're beat LA easier. Maybe,
Easier, yeah.
maybe that's a little bit of an easier matchup. I'm
You
not
would
sitting
think,
here
yeah.
hoping for either team. Both teams are going to be a tough out. Vegas with Mark Stone back and with Pietrangelo in the lineup and Waugh back, like they're going to be a formidable team.
Mhm.
LA is already a formidable team as well. Like there's no easy route here through this division. So I don't know. I'm not really concerned about it. You can't control that at this point if you're the Edmonton Oilers. So why worry about it?
Mm-hmm. Well said. Well said. All right, let's go to Vinny Desharnais after the 3-1 loss to Vancouver.
Tight checking game, lots of hits. It got chippy at here and there, but I thought we battled pretty hard.
I feel like, it's obvious some opportunity lost there. I think everybody knew what was on the line in the standings. Just maybe a thought on that result.
Well, like Zach and Fogie said, it's we lost it, and it doesn't really matter. As long as we're in playoffs, and these type of games will get us ready for playoffs. Games like Vegas will get us ready as well, and we just got to build on it. Look at some tape, but I thought we battled pretty hard, and I think in all three zones we did some really good things.
Vinny, I know you probably want to win the division, but is that more important than anything? The fact that you feel like you can beat any team in the playoffs? I
think we're the best team in the whole league. I think we proved it at times in this season, and it's kind of like the 16-game winning streak. You can win the whole league, and you can lose in the first round, and it doesn't mean anything. So I think these games they just get us ready, and I think it's good to go through adversity, and we'll be ready.
From a personal standpoint, having gone through the playoffs last year for the first time, how much more comfortable do you feel now heading into the postseason this year?
Yeah, I think I have more confidence in my game, obviously, and I think that the coaching staff trust me more. My teammates trust me more as well, and that goes a pretty long way. But again, I think I found my role here, and I'm just going to do everything I can to win every game.
All right, pretty straightforward there from Vinny Desharnais. Let's bounce back into the Oilers locker room with Warren Fogle.
I thought it was a competitive game. Two teams getting ready for playoffs, and they just were able to capitalize on their chance more than us.
Does it feel like, a bit of opportunity lost there? Like, I think we knew what the implications were in the standings. I'm sure you guys wanted this one for that reason.
Yeah, we knew this was an important game. We're just trying to play the right way heading into playoffs, and I thought we played strong, and there's areas to improve on, but obviously disappointed we didn't get the 2 points.
Does this change at all your outlook towards the last 3 games of the season? You're locked in second, first place is out of reach. Does it make you think differently about them?
I don't think so. I think everyone here is competitors, and at the end of the day, you want to show up to work and give it your all. So these next 3 games, you want to build playing the right way heading into the playoffs.
So I'm not revealing any state secrets. You guys are a better team when Connor McDavid's in the lineup. So how have you felt you guys have been without him, and what kind of a boost do you think it's when he comes back?
Yeah, obviously you're not filling that hole. He's the best player in the world, and as a group, gave guys more opportunities, more ice, and as a group to dig in a little bit more. I think it was good in the sense, to realize, playing that team game, we can play with anyone, and obviously adding Connor back makes us a much dangerous team.
Warren, can you explain how hectic or taxing this schedule has been over the last little while for you guys?
Yeah, definitely not ideal, but out of our control, and at the end of the day, we show up here with a smile on our face, and we're really fortunate enough to play in the NHL. But there's no excuses during an 82 game season, and you just try to work hard. But yeah, certainly not ideal.
Yeah, Warren Fogle there. Talk about the 5-7 to wrap up the year. I think 9 days with 6 games, something like that. Too, Cass. That's in the schedule maker's hands. It's out of the hands of the Oilers. Anything that you would say to the schedule and how grueling it can be, and I don't think that the players on the team are making any excuses out of it either.
No, I don't think they are. And yeah, it is a busy end to the year with a lot of hockey played, and that can be tough. But you're not making any excuses, and really, they still are and have been the best team down the stretch in the league. They have been since November. So, no excuses on the playing the amount of games they have recently, but it does factor in. I don't think it looked like it was an energy issue tonight, and I wouldn't say that it was energy that they looked like a tired team. They just looked like a team that got beat by a team that played just a little bit better than they did.
Yep. Oilers on the second half of a back-to-back as well. And energy didn't really seem like it was that big of a factor. All right, Cass, we'll do Chris Knobloch and then get your final thoughts and then let you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Does that work for you?
Absolutely, buddy.
All right, 10-4 on that one. Here is head coach Chris Knobloch.
How do your team play tonight?
I thought we got off to a tremendous start. I thought the energy was high and spent a lot of time in the offensive zone. And then, the momentum of, I think after we had a power play, kind of took that away. And then in the second period, I just didn't feel like we were able to, didn't make many mistakes, but we weren't able to advance the puck very well and get into the offense to really get some more scoring chances.
Chris, down the stretch, and specifically in the playoffs where you play the same team all the time, maybe we usually see more matchups. They really tried to get that Lindholm matchup tonight. Are you a guy that, do you worry about that more in the playoffs? Do you look at the cat and mouse in the matchup game a little bit harder in the playoffs than you would in the regular season?
If it's against our not in our favor, then we want to stay away from the matchups. If it's taking away the flow of our team, I don't want to hide away from matchups. I think, there are certain times when we want to, and other times we just want to play. So I wasn't concerned about it tonight.
You build a team, with Connor McDavid on it. It's obvious to say that you're not as good when he's not playing. That's just fair. But you build a team that gets momentum from power plays and gets momentum from when he plays. When you don't have him, is it hard to figure out all the ways to give your team some energy and some juice that he brings?
Well, he's a game breaker when he's touched the puck, and when things are flat, when things aren't going well, just one possession, one play can change the dynamic of the game. And there's a reason why he's the best player in the league and the impact that he has with this team. Tonight we only scored one goal, but I thought we had opportunities to get more than that, and a lot of credit to their goaltender who played well. But we played 3 games without him, and obviously we are a better team and we score goals easier. But I don't think there's cause for worry, or I think there's other guys who can chip in a little bit more.
Is there an upside to these 3 games and giving those guys, the ice time and the responsibility and just having to do it themselves?
Yes and no. I think there's opportunities for guys to step up and show what they can do, and there's also, it's also taken away of, what our line's going to look like when Connor comes in, and there's going to be some more line juggling, and I don't know. I think it's good to overall that guys do get an opportunity, but obviously it's nice to have them back and get our momentum and playing the way we want to play.
Now that you're locked in for these last 3 games, you're going to be second place Pacific. You can't fall. You're probably not going up. Does it change the way you structure your lineup, or the way you coach, the way you approach the last 3 games? Yeah,
we'll look at that. I think it is definitely an opportunity to give guys a rest if it's needed. And giving guys a little more responsibilities in certain situations, and Dylan being an opportunity to keep on playing and show us what he got, and we'll assess those.
Else, maybe?
Yes, possibility.
All right, there's Chris Knobloch talking a little bit about what the plan is going forward in the last 3 games. So more responsibility cast for some other guys. So it sounds to me like he's going to ease off some minutes off the heavy lifters.
Yep.
And then I alluded to Dylan Holloway. I know a lot of Oiler fans are kind of enticed by what he's been doing in these last 3 games. Sounds like that's going to be a thing. So how do you foresee him distributing ice time to certain players in these last 3 games?
Yeah, well, I would be, probably the last 2 you're going to see, I would say, like for if McDavid plays, and I think he will probably play the last 2. Don't know about the next one yet. We'll have to see on that, but those guys aren't going to get over 20 minutes a night. Like they'll stay probably under 18. I would assume that's kind of what your target would be somewhere between 16 and 18 minutes for the big boys. Holloway's going to play a ton. Your third and fourth line are going to play a ton. Wouldn't be shocked, as you mentioned, if Broberg gets up and gets into a game. Like you're going to start to play those other guys, and you're just giving them more minutes. And it's not surprising. Not surprised that he mentioned Dylan Holloway as well. He has done well since he's been here. He's played fairly solidly. So yeah, he's going to get more minutes. That's what you're going to see. You're going to see 16 18 for the big boy if they're in the big boys, if they're in the lineup, and everyone else is going to pick up the slack.
All right, Cass. Finally, just 1 out of a possible 4 points this weekend for the Oilers. They have tomorrow off, day of rest on Sunday before getting back at it against the Canucks to wrap up the home schedule this regular season. Assess the last 2 games here, and then what does it mean overall, big picture, when it comes to the team's season?
I mean, big picture is it means you don't finish first and you're not guaranteed home ice in the second round if both you and Vancouver win.
Right.
That's the big picture. Bigger picture, we're going to judge his team by how they do and what they do in the playoffs. That's it. So no point in nitpicking or digging in or freaking out or being overconfident. Either direction, no point after this weekend of any of those things. It's just they do miss McDavid. That's an obvious. That's a given. Obviously, the best player in the world. It's going to impact you. He will be back. He will be healthy to start the playoffs. And Tommy, it's all about the playoffs.
All about the playoffs. Here we go. 1 more week of regular season action, and then we anticipate, and sounds like the Oilers will start on the Monday, potentially Sunday, but it is sounding more and more like Monday. Cass, fantastic work as always. Level-headed approach, rational. That's why we love you, brother. Enjoy your Sunday. Be well.
Thanks, buddy. You too.
That is Matt Kassian, our game analyst, breaking down the Oilers' 3-1 loss at the hands of the Vancouver Canucks. All right, Tom Gazzola and Matthew Wannick still with you here on the Oil Stream postgame show presented by GCL Diesel. I also want to add that portions of this hour brought to you by the fine folks at 100.3 The Bear, Edmonton's best rock. Listen to Nielsen with Uke and McCord every morning, and tune into Jess Jackson on your way home from work every afternoon, Monday to Friday. All right, let's get to some more texts, and we'll also go around the National Hockey League too, and we'll get to the big save of the game. We'll get to the player of the game as we continue to break down the Oilers' 3-1 loss to the Vancouver Canucks. All right, out-of-town scores, because there's lots of playoff implications. The East is a bit chaotic right now, which is great. And so let's get into it. The Rangers defeat the Islanders earlier today, 3-2 at MSG in a shootout. The Dallas Stars take care of business against the Seattle Kraken in Dallas, 3-1. Winnipeg absolutely destroys Colorado 7-0 in Denver. That is a first round preview. Florida 3-2 winners over Buffalo in overtime. That game in Florida. Philly 1-0 win over New Jersey. That game in the city of brotherly love, and that one keeps Philly in the mix. They only have 1 game remaining, and they are tied with Washington and Detroit at 87 points. Does not look good for the Flyers, who just spoiled a golden opportunity to surprise everybody this year and make it into the playoffs. They were third for a while in the Metro and pissed it away, for a lack of a better term. All right, Washington 4-2 winners over Tampa Bay. That's a huge win for the Caps. They do sit second wildcard spot right now, 2 games remaining with 87 points. Massive victory for them. Ottawa 5-4 winners over Montreal in a shootout in our nation's capital. And then a big win for Detroit, also giving them 87 points. They are on the outside looking in as they beat the Toronto Maple Leafs in OT. Dylan Larkin, the winner there. Nashville 6-4 winners over Columbus. Boston 6-4 winners over Pittsburgh. That is a huge loss for the Penguins, who started the day in the second wildcard spot. They now have 86 points with 2 games remaining. The miracle comeback might be dead after that one. LA 3-1 winners over Anaheim. No surprise there. And then Minnesota beating up on the hapless San Jose Sharks at the Shark Tank 6-2. All right. Let's get to a few texts, and then I'm going to get to the big save of the game. And then Matty Owanik's going to give you the player of the game, and we will call it a night. John of St. Albert texting in saying, on Wednesday, how many Oilers fans do you think will be at the last NHL game in Arizona? John of St. Albert, 1,000 maybe out of the 4,500 that are there. Although it for some, what do you think, Owanik? Because that's going to be a sad goodbye, an abrupt goodbye for the true hockey fans in Arizona. So maybe it's going to be a tough ticket for Albertans to get.
But you would have already bought your ticket, I think, if you're an Oilers fan.
Yeah.
Our boy Tyler Remchick's going.
Is he?
Unless
Oh, nice.
To sell his ticket. Yeah, I think his girl and parents are off down.
Oh, nice.
And that was planned a while ago. I think most people would have planned it a while ago and got their tickets for that. So it's the reverse. It's almost Arizona fans scrambling to see if they could try to snag some tickets. At the same time, I don't know if are they going to pay extra prices to get in for that last one.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'll have to ask Yaremchuk and be like, hey, you going to try to sell those and see if you can make some bucks instead, or
right?
You know,
It's weird. And then the other thing too is like they're kind of telling Arizona that we're going to give you another team in a couple of years, which I think is beyond ridiculous. But I understand the desire to be in that market where there's 6 million people, one of the biggest markets in the country. Man, hockey is in a bad place in AZ right now. Andy Pandy says, Tommy, the Canucks are simply more dynamic, more skilled than the Oilers. Some of our boys had a really poor weekend. No finish. Holloway, McLeod, Perry, really poor in their zone. DeSmith barely troubled in the third. Canucks better defensively. Bouchard and Nurse were really poor in big moments tonight. Where was Nuge? Ready to disappear in the playoffs again. Power play slow and predictable. Oilers fans have to be hugely disappointed again. No finish this weekend at all. A disappointed Andy Pandy. We're going to judge them in the playoffs, Andy Pandy. We're sticking with that. Taco texting in. Taco says, Tom, this was a must win in my eyes, not just for the Oilers' confidence, but also to avoid letting the Canucks from getting too confident. When a team feels like they have another team's number, it can go a long way. To all the Kane haters, tonight was a good reminder why the Oilers need him in the playoffs. He had a very noticeable game tonight. Taco, I agree with you about Evander Kane, and he's showing up at the right time, thankfully, if you're looking at it from an Oilers point of view. All right, we roll on here on the Oil Stream post-game show presented by GCL Diesel, proud suppliers of genuine OE products from manufacturers like Bosch, Denso, Garrett, Borg-Warner, and Wholeset. So check them out if you're looking to get into that game, and happy to bring on GCL Diesel as our title sponsor here on the pre and post game show. Next order of business, Matty Owanik, let's get to the big save of the game. And if you want to go to a game in the playoffs, get ready because I'm going to tell you how. So Chris Boyle presenting the big save of the game. He's a business owner, tax saver. Chris Boyle strategically works with both businesses and families with strategic planning and risk management. Like a goalie, protecting the net, shielding your paycheck from unforeseen events like illness or hospitalization, and ensuring your family's financial stability in the face of unexpected circumstances. For a chance to win playoff tickets, scan the QR code at the bottom of your screen if you're watching on YouTube. And then if you're listening, whether it's on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, or EdmontonSportsDoc.com, you can visit ChristopherBoyle.net/postgame show to enter to win a chance to win playoff tickets. So do that right now. We're going to keep that on there for a couple more seconds. if you want to get into the draw for playoff tickets, courtesy of Christopher Boyle. And the big save of the game, I'm going to give it to Stu Skinner. I thought he made some really nice saves. There was one that gets honorable mention. It was like a backdoor tap in. Besser got a piece of it. Skinner sprawled out, kicked the pad out. I thought that was important, especially if the Oilers were able to get the equalizer. They didn't do that, so kind of moot point. But the nicest save, the big save that I'm going to award tonight, and I thought it was the nicest save, was by Stu Skinner, where he robbed Ilya Mikheyev off a CC turnover in the first period. Glove save, absolutely huge. So that is your Christopher Boyle big save of the game in the Oilers' 3-1 loss to the Canucks. QR code, bottom of your screen. If you want to get that, do it now. And then if you want to enter for the chance to win playoff tickets, go to christopherboyle.net/postgame show. There it is. All right. Awanik, let's get to a couple more texts. How's the Nasty Chat doing? Have you been watching it at all? I saw there was some Canucks fans in there. I put one in timeout.
I put one in timeout too.
Nice.
It was just like, I don't know. It wasn't really, like, I have no problem with Canucks fans going into the Nasty Chat after a game.
Right, same.
No problem. Stick to the sports. Stick to the hockey. Have some fun with it. The guy that I put in timeout just was making comments about the city and homelessness and all that. It's like, what I'm trying to figure out, sort of going a little tangent here, though.
No, go for it.
Like, you're trying to rip on the city of Edmonton, but what kind of sad life do you have that all you can do on a Saturday night after your team wins is going to another city's chat to make fun of that city? Like, you've got nothing better to do in your life. How sad is your life at that point? That's what gets you going. Like, I'm a troll. I have no problem poking things, poking the bear and all that. But really on that one, like on a Saturday night, you don't have any friends you can go hang out with. You're not going to go finish UFC 300 with any friends or go
wild
for drinks. Like that's your fun. Being by yourself on the computer, going into an Oilers chat or an Edmonton chat about the Oilers and making fun of the city and feeling special about yourself. Cool, dude. Cool.
Well said, Matthew. Hey, man, every big city has its issues, and Edmonton no different. It's a little big city, and Vancouver has an issue with homeless population, trying to help people out as best as they can. Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg, same thing. Toronto, yeah, come on. If you're gonna carve it of a city, I mean, get creative and come up with some good digs, because ripping on people that are less fortunate, not cool at all. And trolling in an Edmonton sports station show, to each their own.
On a Saturday night.
On a Saturday night.
When you could be doing a lot more. I'm sorry.
Well played. I like that, Awanik. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, let's read a couple of texts here, and then let's get to the player of the game. Maddie's going to deliver that bad boy, too. C-Mac says, I'm not mad. I am disappointed. Too many guys just mailing it in. Let's get to the playoffs already. This text coming in says, hey, Tom, just switching over, but friend of EST, Bob Stoffer, said he's hearing first playoff game likely a week from tomorrow. Anything you've heard? Yes, I've heard as of last night, they were saying likely Monday, but a potential Sunday start. And we'll see. Maybe somebody told Stoff something today, but I was asking around in the press box yesterday, and people from the team were saying, yeah, maybe Sunday, but likely Monday. That could have changed. We'll find out more soon. So plan for Sunday or Monday. But if anything new comes up and I hear anything else as the decisions and the schedule get made, I will pass that along happily. EA texting in says, you'd think this team wanting revenge against a team that dummied them at the beginning of the season would actually show up to play. Fair point, EA. This one says, adios, Coyotes. You will not be missed. Canucks are too soft for the playoffs. They will not beat Vegas. Arthur says, Tom and Matt, you guys are my favorite postgame show. Thank you, Arthur. Always fair, level-headed analysis. Anyway, if the Oilers have McDavid, do they win the series versus Vancouver? Do you expect them to meet in the playoffs? Thanks, guys. Arthur, appreciate that very, very much. Thank you for watching and listening to us. We certainly can't do it without our viewers and our listeners. I do think that Edmonton would still have a good chance against Vancouver. I think it's going to be tough with whoever they face. I do like their chances overall. I'm eagerly anticipating watching how they handle postseason hockey, and if all this stuff about them maturing and learning from their playoff woes these past couple of years does come to the forefront. That is something I'm eagerly awaiting to see if actually happens with this Oilers team. But I do like their chances against any team in the playoffs, and it's going to be hard whoever they face. So I'm kind of looking at it and go, okay, Oilers, I know you probably can beat teams, but prove it. Go prove it. Maddie, how are you looking at it?
Sorry, I was reading something there.
Whatever. Oh, Arthur's text. He said,
"Oh, McDavid series."
Yeah.
Do they win? So now, we're talking about the playoff series here.
Yeah, playoff series.
I'm seeing a lot of people. Dusty said it too. He thinks the Oilers win a series against the Canucks. I've been a whole mindset of yes. I don't care about the regular season. It's a brand new thing, playoffs and all that. So I'm not going to focus too much on the regular season here. The question, if it's a second round series, because it can't be the first round, I think the Canucks are susceptible to a first round playoff loss. I think they don't have a playoff experience, that there's a chance they could come in here and not be ready and be taken down, especially going up against maybe potentially the Preds with UC Saros and Ned.
Right.
But if they get through that first round, they're going to feel good about themselves. If they get through that first round, then that narrative to me goes away from a little bit from the Canucks. So now what is the equalizer in this? Mm-hmm. Leon and Connor, they'll be the two best players on the ice right off the bat. The Oilers have that advantage there. But the Canucks would have Thatchko Demko potentially in net there, and I think the edge goes to them over Stuart Skinner. I don't know who I would pick at this moment. I think it's a toss-up right now. Could the Oilers win, which would be the question? Yes, they could win.
Yeah.
But do I think it's, would I put it at a 70%, 75% chance the Oilers win that series? Not a chance. No. To me right now, that's a coin flip. That'd be a 50-50 series.
I think there's going to be a lot of that, especially in the first round. So should be interesting. I can't wait. I think this is going to be an awesome playoff, especially in the Western Conference. Phyllis via the Nasty Chat says the Canucks have decent defense. Oilers boys were not getting through very easily. They're not easy to play. And then adds, you guys are fine. I want a series between the Oilers and the Jets in the second round. How about that ass kicking?
Well, that can't happen in the second round quickly.
Yeah.
That's impossible.
Right.
Because you're stuck in your divisions. The Oilers, the Jets are taking on the Avs. They will then meet the winner of Stars and either the Kings, Preds, or Golden Knights. Likely the Golden Knights.
Right. Good point. If the or when the Jets meet the Avs in the first round, do you think that 7-0 butt kicking today has a lingering effect on the Avalanche?
Nope.
None.
No. Yeah. I don't. To me, things don't transfer over, and part of this I would say is we've seen it in playoff series where you have the one big game and then the next game it doesn't go well. Mm-hmm. I don't think momentum carries over in the playoffs, so I don't think there's anything coming from this Jets game to that Avs series.
Yeah,
I think the Jets will feel good about themselves.
Sure,
but I don't think it changes anything in any way, shape, or form in that series, or gives the Jets this huge feeling that that's going to be a 4 or 5 game sweep, or 4 game sweep, 5 game series.
Right. Fair point. Mike in Calgary texting says, not mad, not sad, just a bad weekend for Oilers fans. Yep, that sums it up nicely, Mike in Calgary. All right, I'm going to save a couple of texts if you want to sneak one in. Under the wire, 780-218-9999. Nasty Chat, do your thing. Thanks for sticking with us late into the night as the Oilers lose 3-1 to the Vancouver Canucks. Gazzola and Matt still with you as we get to the Damon Bunting Remax Elite Player of the Game. Damon Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian Remax realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. He's community-driven, understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Mr. Awanek, without further ado, who is the Damon Bunting Remax Elite Player of the Game?
I'm allowed to go either team, right? Just
of
making
course.
sure.
Yep.
Casey DeSmith, the goaltender of Vancouver Canucks. This is a guy that hasn't been playing well as of late. Comes in tonight, and he plays extremely well. Like that first period, too, the Oilers had a lot of good chances. I think at one point it was like early, and it was like 7-2 shots or whatever it was. The Edmonton Oilers ultimately put 33 on Casey DeSmith. They put 13 in that first period. He got them through that. The Oilers had their moments tonight, but Casey DeSmith, to me, he was the player of the game.
Well said, Matthew Awanek. That is the Damon Bunting Remax Elite Player of the Game. Casey DeSmith snapped a 4-game losing streak, had dropped his last 4 starts. First win for him since March 23rd. Okay, some text to wrap things up here on the Oil Stream post-game show presented by GCL Diesel. Let's go to Fat Dan. Fat Dan says, so much talk about matchups as if they needed to win because of playoff matchups. Do we really think they give a crap who they're going to play? I don't. It's clear that's not their focus right now because they feel they can take down any team regardless. Fat Dan, I think you're right. Oily Sink says, FA looks like he's had too many 6 o'clocker loggers. Jose in Fort Sask says, Canucks D had some big hits on the Oilers forwards. Felt like the Oilers need to answer back to gain some momentum. Never came from guys like Vinny/Nurse or Ekholm. They kind of ran the show in the physical game. Jose in Fort Sask. The Canucks outside of Hronek and Hughes have monsters on the back end. And Zadorov, Myers, Susie certainly come to mind there. Big Uke says, was a good game. Underwhelming. Could literally care less about the rest of the regular season. Playoffs is when it matters. If they won yesterday, tonight with Connor, he controls the game so much better than anyone in the league. Also, the beer offer still stands. Tommy and YTT. Trev needs post-press box beer. Trev had a great time. He stopped by here to pick up his stuff after he stuck it out for the whole game. I had to come back a little bit before the end, and he said it was the best experience of his life. And I introduced him to a whole bunch of people. He and Rashog and Gregor took shots at me together. I was like, all right, I'll take a note. But by all accounts, YouTube Trev had a tremendous first night in the press box working a game. Not going to be his last, that's for sure. He handled it like a pro. McLovin texting in says, did I like the Oilers' effort tonight? No, they lost. So why would I like it? That's from the Muzz. All right. Randy, fairly low event game. No reason to be contrarian and have text, not worry of engagement, or maybe I'm blocked. Haha. Randy, you are not blocked by any means. Good to hear from you, and we appreciate it. Nasty Chat, how you doing over there? Everybody's doing all right. Okay. You know what, Matty Owanek? I think we put in a good shift today. The Oilers lose, unfortunately, to the Vancouver Canucks. They'll look to bounce back when they take on the San Jose Sharks to wrap up the home portion of the 2023-2024 schedule and then hit the road for 2 in a row to close things out. We are live on location for a listener watch party, Hudson's White Avenue on the 18th when they face off against the Colorado Avalanche. And then the night before, of course, the final game in Arizona Coyotes history at Mullet Arena. It will be the Oilers and the Coyotes next week. That'll do it for the Oil Stream post-game show presented by GCL Diesel. For Matthew Awanek, for Matthew Kassian, I'm Tom Gazzola saying thanks as always for watching and listening. Have a great night, everyone. Enjoy your Sunday. Bye-bye.